In this video, I'd like to show how to manage gene sets in Toxygates. So there are many tools in Toxygates for saving and managing and editing gene sets. And we can't go through all of them today, but I'd like to go through some of the most important features. As we've seen in a previous video, on the View Data screen, you can sort and filter your probes. So for example, I'm looking again at acetaminophen here and cisplatin here for rats. And if I want to limit the view, currently I'm looking at 31,000 probes. I can click on the filter icon here and say, for example, that the log2 fold should be at least 2 in absolute value terms. And now the filter icon is blue to indicate the filter is active. And now I see only 85 probes, only 85 genes. That's still 2 pages, so I have to page forward and back to see all of those. If I, for some reason, want to save this gene set in order to come back to it later, then I can click the New button here to the right of the text saying All Probes. So I click New, and then immediately I see this gene set editor. This is an interface where you can change and edit gene sets in various ways. And in this list here, I see the Affymetric symbols as well as the gene symbols of the 85 probes I selected. And then I can give it a name. I can type any string I want as the name of my gene set. And then if I want, I can edit it by removing individual probes that maybe I don't want to have in there. And then I click the Save button when I'm happy. And that saves the set called log2fold2. And now we see here also where it used to say all probes, it now says log2fold2. Now, in order to go back to seeing all the genes, you can use the gene sets menu. All the gene sets you create will be in this menu. So here you can show the log2fold2, you can edit it, or you can delete it. And you can also, importantly, click on the Show All menu item up here. Show All goes back to the set of all probes for that species, the 31,000. And now indeed, this area shows all probes again. And now switching back to the saved set, log2fold2. That gene set is saved, by the way, in the web browser, so the next time you come back to Toxygates, you can still see the same 85 genes. However, if you're on a different computer, you may have to create the gene set again from scratch. And one way to get around that is by exporting and importing gene sets to and from TargetMine or HumanMine or a similar intermine system. And I hope to cover that topic in a future video. And again, if you want to edit the log2fold2, you can use the Edit button here on this menu, which goes to this editor. And here you can make some changes. And after making changes, you could save with a new name, for example. Thus, you could have different versions of the same gene set. For example, I can remove these 3, and I can say this is log2fold2b, and now you have 2 gene sets in your menu, log2fold2 and log2fold2b, and so on. So that's how to manage gene sets in Toxygates. I hope you find this feature useful.